I let my brother stay in my house while I traveled. A $2 million home. 4 bedrooms, pool, fireplace, mountain views. I told him, make yourself comfortable while I'm gone. 8 months later, I came home. He had changed the locks. He looked me in the eye and said, you don't live here anymore. My name is Lauren, I'm 39, single, no kids. I built a quiet life working in digital licensing. Boring to most people, but I invested well. Bought my dream home outside Portland 3 years ago. Spacious, serene, mine. The house had everything. A chef's kitchen with marble countertops. A library with floor-to-ceiling shelves. A master suite with a clawfoot tub overlooking the garden. I'd worked 15 years for this. Last spring, I decided to take a sabbatical. A long overdue trip across Europe, something I'd promised myself since college. I mentioned it over dinner with my younger brother Kyle. We met at our usual spot downtown, Thai food, his choice. He looked tired, more tired than usual. How's the apartment hunt going? I asked. He pushed pad thai around his plate. Not great. His wife Jessica had lost her job. They'd burned through savings. Their landlord hadn't renewed the lease. We're looking at short-term rentals, he said. But with 2 kids, he trailed off. I watched him. My little brother. The one I'd helped with homework, driven to soccer practice, bailed out of bad decisions more times than I could count. Stay at my place, I heard myself say. He looked up. What? While I'm gone, stay at my house. Lauren, we couldn't. No rent, just take care of it. His eyes filled with tears, real tears. Are you serious? I nodded. He came around the table, hugged me hard. I'll pay you back, he whispered. I promise. That night Jessica called me. You saved us, she said. We were looking at homeless shelters. It's just a house, I said. No, she said. It's everything. I gave them the keys a week later, showed them the security system, the pool maintenance schedule, where I kept the extra light bulbs. The cleaner comes Wednesdays, I said. Plants need water twice a week. Kyle nodded at everything, took notes on his phone. We won't touch anything, Jessica promised. We'll sleep in the guest room. Use the master, I said. The bed's more comfortable. They exchanged glances. You sure? Kyle asked. It's just a bed. The morning I left for Rome, Kyle texted me. Thank you for everything. I smiled, typed back, take care of each other. Then I turned off my phone. Italy was everything I'd dreamed. The Colosseum at sunrise. Pasta in tiny trattorias. Wine on terraces overlooking the Mediterranean. I felt free, light. I checked in occasionally. Quick texts. How's the house? Perfect, Kyle would reply. Kids love the backyard. He sent photos. His daughter on the swing set. His son in the pool. They looked happy. From Florence, I noticed something. The living room walls were different. Sage green instead of cream. Did you paint? I asked. Just one room, he replied. Jessica has anxiety. Green calms her. I let it go. Paint could be changed. In Prague, more photos arrived. A new chandelier in the dining room. Modern, geometric. Found it at an estate sale, Kyle explained. The old one fell. Mia was playing and bumped the table, nearly hit Marcus. We panicked. Is she okay? She's fine, but we couldn't risk it happening again. I saved the old pieces. Maybe it can be repaired. My grandmother's chandelier. Hand-blown glass from the 1920s. But what could I say? Child safety came first. We're saving every penny, he added. Once I get a few paychecks, we'll start looking for our own place. Jessica got a part-time job, too. Progress. They were trying. In Vienna, the updates stopped coming. I'd text. He'd reply days later. Sorry, busy with work. Kids started school. Phone died. Always an excuse. In Amsterdam, I called. Jessica answered. Background noise, laughter, music. Oh, Lauren, how's Europe? Good, is that a party? Just some neighbors. Mia's birthday. I hope that's okay. Mia's birthday. I'd forgotten. She wanted a princess party so bad. Jessica continued. First time we could afford anything nice for her. The neighbors have been so welcoming. Their kids and ours have become best friends. Of course it's okay, I said. Tell her happy birthday. She talks about you all the time. Says when Aunt Lauren comes back, she'll show you her reading. She's top of her class. In the background, children laughing, happy sounds. Kyle got promoted. Jessica added. Shift supervisor now. We're actually saving money. Few more months and we'll have enough for a deposit somewhere. That's great, I said and meant it. In London, my final stop, I scrolled through Jessica's Instagram. My house. But not. The study had become a nursery. Circus animals on the walls. Surprise. The caption read, Baby number 3 coming in January. Marcus and Mia can't wait to be big siblings. The garden was redesigned. My roses gone. Vegetables in neat rows. First harvest teaching the kids where food comes from. Mia's tomatoes won first place at school. The garage had gym equipment. Kyle's motorcycles where my car should be. Kyle's boss let him buy the old work bikes cheap. He fixes them up on weekends and sells them. Every dollar goes to the kids' college fund. Every photo captioned with gratitude, with hope. 6 months ago, we almost lost everything. Now our kids have stability, good schools, clean air, friends. Sometimes miracles happen. My chest tightened, but I breathed, reminded myself they needed this. I had Europe. They were supposed to be looking for their own place. But pregnant again? School year started. Kyle's job going well. When exactly were they planning to leave? 8 months is longer than planned. But when your free time becomes elastic. One more city. One more adventure. Until the money runs lower. The seasons change. The pull of home grows stronger. I booked my flight home on a Tuesday. Emailed Kyle immediately. Then again and again. No response. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. Jessica's phone too. Technical difficulties. I told myself. They're busy. But something cold settled in my stomach. The flight home felt endless. I'd imagined this moment. Pulling into my driveway. Walking through my door. Sleeping in my bed. Simple things, mine. The Uber turned onto my street. I saw the house. My house. But different. The white fence was now black iron. Commercial grade. Locked gate. The xeriscaped front yard I'd carefully designed was gone. Bright green sod. Garden gnomes. A basketball hoop in the driveway. The mailbox read The Andersons in cheerful cursive. My last name is Chen. I stood at the gate. My gate. Fumbling for keys. They didn't work. I tried again. Different key. Nothing. My hands shook. I pressed the intercom. New edition. Hello? Jessica's voice. Bright. Unconcerned. It's Lauren. Open the gate. Silence. Then, oh, Lauren, hang on. The gate buzzed open. I walked up the path. My path. Now lined with solar lights I didn't buy. The front door opened before I could knock. Kyle stood there. Pajama pants. Ratty t-shirt. Coffee mug in hand. My mug. The one I bought in Seattle. My favorite. Lauren, he said. Flat. Didn't expect you until next month. I sent 3 emails. He shrugged. Been busy. Behind him I could see the living room. My living room, except it wasn't. Toys everywhere. A massive TV on the wall where my painting hung. Furniture I didn't recognize. Can I come in? I asked. He didn't move. Now's not great, kids are napping. Kyle, let me in. You're making a scene. A scene, this is my house. He sipped his coffee, my coffee mug. Looked at me over the rim. Here's the thing, Lauren. We've settled in, made it a home, for the kids. I asked you to house sit. You said make yourself comfortable. You said no rent. That's not house sitting. Kyle. 8 months, Lauren. No lease agreement. No end date. You know what that creates. I stared at him. A month-to-month tenancy. We're tenants now. Legal tenants. If you're not paying rent. You said no rent. That's still a verbal lease agreement. He pulled out his phone, showed me screenshots, legal websites, tenant rights pages. See, after 30 days, we're considered tenants under Oregon law. You can't just kick us out. Need 90 days notice. Proper eviction procedures. This is insane. Plus, we've made improvements, substantial improvements. That creates additional rights. You painted without permission. To make a home for our children. Courts consider that. Especially with Jessica pregnant. Pregnant. We've established residency. He continued. Changed our address. Kids enrolled in school. This is our primary residence now. It's my house, Kyle. That you abandoned. 8 months without visiting some states, that's grounds for adverse possession claims. Adverse possession takes years. I know, but it shows intent, abandonment. Plus, you told us to make ourselves comfortable. No timeline, no restrictions. A judge will consider that. I stared at him. This stranger wearing my brother's face. You changed the locks on my house. Our house now. Kyle, you should go. Before the kids wake up. They don't need to see this. He started closing the door. I put my foot in the gap. The kids I housed for 8 months. Don't make this about them. You just did. Lauren, be reasonable. Marcus's asthma is finally controlled. Mia has friends, straight A's. Jessica's high-risk pregnancy needs stability. You were supposed to find your own place. We tried. But do you know what rentals cost now with 3 kids? Even with my job, we can't afford anything in this school district. That's not... Your house has been sitting empty for years before we came. You travel constantly. You don't even like kids. I like kids fine. When's the last time you visited them? Sent a birthday card. I didn't answer. We're using this house, making it a home. You'd rather it sit empty again. It's mine to leave empty if I want. God, you sound just like Dad. That stung. Our father, who'd had money, who'd let Kyle struggle rather than help. This isn't over, I said. Yeah, he said, it is. The door shut. I heard the deadbolt turn. I stood on my porch, locked out of my own home. A neighbor walked by with her dog, waved cheerfully. I waved back. Autopilot. Then I walked to my rental car, sat in the driver's seat, and smiled. Because Kyle had made one crucial error. He assumed I was just his pushover sister. The one who always said yes, always helped, never fought back. He didn't know about the trust. See, when you work in digital licensing, you learn about protecting assets. The house wasn't in my name. It was held by the Lotus Mountain Trust. I was the sole beneficiary, the sole trustee, and the trust had very specific rules about occupancy. I called Raymond from the parking lot. Raymond Liu, my lawyer, soft-spoken, thorough, ruthless when needed. Lauren, how was Europe? Cut short, I have a situation. I explained. He listened, no interruptions. When I finished, he said, give me 72 hours. What about their residency claim? Irrelevant. They're guests who overstayed. The trust never authorized tenancy. He said he did research. Raymond chuckled. Google isn't law school. Within 72 hours, Kyle received formal eviction papers, served at dinner. I heard about it later from Jessica's frantic voicemail. How could you do this? We're family, I'm pregnant. I didn't respond. Kyle tried a different approach. Called my mother. She called me crying. How can you throw your brother out after everything? After everything, I repeated. Interesting phrase. You know what I mean. Family helps family. He changed the locks, Mom. He was probably confused. You were gone so long. He thought you'd given him the house. Given him a $2 million house. Not given, but he thought, with you saying make yourself comfortable, no rent, no timeline. Mom, stop. He showed me the website's Lauren about tenant rights. He might have a case. He doesn't. How do you know? Because I have better lawyers than Google. Kyle hired a lawyer, some strip mall attorney who specialized in tenant rights. They filed a response, claimed improvements to the property, sweat equity, detrimental reliance, even cited the verbal agreement. Make yourself comfortable. No rent. No specified end date. He's not wrong, Raymond said on the phone, about the tenant rights. What? In Oregon, he's correct. After 30 days, even house guests can establish tenancy. Without a written agreement specifying duration, it defaults to month. So he wins, Raymond chuckled. No, he's right about being a tenant, but he's wrong about everything else. Explain. First tenants still need permission for modifications. He didn't have it. Second, the trust documents he signed when taking the keys. They supersede any verbal agreement. Third, removing pool safety features with children present. That's not just a lease violation. It's criminal. So instead of a simple eviction, we're looking at eviction for cause, immediate, no 90-day notice required. And his lawyer will probably advise him to leave quietly once he sees our filing. But then we got the inspection report, and things got interesting. Every modification they'd made was unpermitted. The nursery built over a load-bearing beam. Major structural risk. The new electrical in the garage not up to code. Fire hazard. The fence violated setback requirements. But the pool was the real problem. They'd removed the safety fencing. For aesthetics, apparently. In Oregon, that's not just illegal. It's criminal negligence with children present. We could report this, Raymond said. But there's something else. What? Your brother was right about one thing. They are tenants. Technically, my heart sank. But he continued, tenants who've made unauthorized modifications. Tenants who've created safety hazards. Tenants who've violated the lease terms. What lease terms? There's no lease. The trust documents specify conditions for any occupancy. No modifications without written consent. Maintenance of safety standards. Your brother acknowledged receiving these when you gave him the keys. He did. You had him sign for the keys, correct? That form included the trust's occupancy terms. I remembered. A simple form. Kyle had barely glanced at it. So he's not just a tenant. He's a tenant in violation. That changes everything. The city showed up first, then county inspectors, then child services. Suddenly, Kyle and Jessica weren't fighting eviction. They were fighting to keep their kids. The fine started at $10,000, escalated from there. They had 30 days to restore everything or face prosecution. Kyle called me, different tone now. Please, he said. We'll leave. Just call off the dogs. Too late. Lauren, please, the kids you endangered by removing pool fencing. That was Jessica's idea. Stop. We can work this out. I'll pay rent, back rent, whatever you want. I want you out. Where will we go? Not my problem. You're really going to do this to your own brother. You did this when you changed the locks. He was quiet. Then I was trying to make a home for my family. In someone else's house. You weren't using it. That's not how ownership works. Ownership, he spat. Always about what you own, what you have. Yes, I said, exactly. I hung up. They fought it for 2 weeks, then folded. The legal bills were crushing them, the fines growing daily. They moved out on a Thursday. I watched from across the street. Box after box, furniture I'd never seen, lives I'd never lived. Jessica carried the baby clothes, crying, 7 months pregnant, struggling with boxes. Kyle wouldn't look in my direction. The kids seemed confused. Why are we leaving? Mia asked, clutching a stuffed animal. I don't want to change schools again. We have to baby. Jessica said. But this is home. My friends are here. We'll make new friends. I don't want new friends. Mia started crying. You promised we wouldn't have to move anymore. Marcus, smaller, wheezed in the stress. Jessica quickly gave him his inhaler. Will I have my own room at the new place? He asked. Kyle and Jessica exchanged glances. We'll figure it out, buddy, Kyle said. They loaded the truck. The neighbors came out, the kids all crying, hugging goodbye. You'll visit, right? A neighbor girl asked Mia. I don't know, Mia said. I don't even know where we're going. As they drove away, I saw Jessica's Instagram post. Sometimes life takes unexpected turns. Grateful for the 8 months of stability we had. The kids thrived here. Now starting over again. Please pray for us. 107 likes, dozens of comments. Oh no. What happened? Those poor kids. I waited an hour. Then walked through my gate. My corrected gate. Used my new keys to open my door. The house smelled wrong, like other people's lives. But houses can be cleaned, painted, restored. I walked through each room, cataloging damage. The nursery mural would have to go. The green walls, too. My grandmother's chandelier was in the garage. Broken, beyond repair. The garden would take years to restore. But it was mine again. That's what mattered. That night I slept in a hotel. The house felt too strange, too violated, but I'd fix that too. Time and money fix most things. A week later, Jessica sent a long email. How I'd ruined their lives. How the kids were traumatized. How they were living in a motel. Mia cries every night. Marcus's asthma is back. We can't afford his good medication without Kyle's insurance, which doesn't kick in for 90 days at his new job. Kyle won't even look for work now, she wrote. He just sits there. You broke him. We were finally stable. Finally had hope. The kids were thriving. Now we're back to where we started. Worse, actually. At least before they didn't know what they were missing. I hope your empty house brings you joy. I archived the email, didn't respond, but I read it several times. A month later, my mother called. They're living in a terrible apartment, 2 bedrooms. The kids share one. There's mold. Marcus is in the hospital. I'm sorry to hear that. You could help them. I did help them, for 8 months. That's not what I mean. I know what you mean. The answer is no. They were taking care of your house, making improvements. Without permission. They were building a life. The kids were happy. In my house, Mom. You weren't even using it. That's not the point. Then what is the point, Lauren? You have so much. They have nothing. They had 8 months of free rent to save money. Save money with medical bills with a new baby coming. You know how much Kyle makes. Not my responsibility. You're going to die alone, she said. With your money and your empty house. Maybe, I said, but I'll die in my house. She hung up. I hired contractors, began the restoration, ripped out their improvements, fixed their damage. It cost $200,000. I had the money. Kyle found out, sent one last text. You spent more destroying our work than it would have cost to help us. I didn't reply, but he wasn't wrong. 6 months later, the house was perfect again. Better than before. I'd made upgrades, real ones, permitted ones, a new kitchen, solar panels, a proper home office. Everything Kyle's family had touched erased. Except, I kept finding things. A hair clip under the couch, pink plastic, sparkly, crayon marks on the doorframe, height measurements. Mia, age 7. Marcus, age 5. A note in childish handwriting tucked behind a radiator. I love this house. I hope we live here forever. Love, Mia. I threw them all away, mostly. I'd also installed something new. Security cameras, every angle, every door. Motion sensors, smart locks, alerts to my phone. Paranoid maybe. But I'd learned something. Give someone a key, they might change the locks. I kept the basketball hoop. Don't know why. It looked good in the driveway. Sometimes I'd see neighbors look at it, confused. You play, one asked. No, I said. Then why? I like how it looks. They'd nod, walk away puzzled. The truth was simpler and stranger. It reminded me of them. My brother's family. The life they'd tried to steal. Not in a sad way, not anymore. More like a scar, proof of survival. Kyle never contacted me again. I heard updates through family. They'd moved to Texas, cheaper cost of living. Then Arizona, following construction work. He was working. Jessica was waitressing nights. The baby had been born, another boy. They're struggling. My aunt told me at Christmas. But managing, kids are resilient. Good, I said. Mia still asks about you sometimes. I changed the subject. You should reach out. My cousin said once. He's still your brother. No, I said, he's not. Blood makes you related. It doesn't make you family. Family doesn't change the locks. But late at night I'd think about Marcus's inhaler. Mia's note. Jessica's tears. They'd tried to steal my house. That was unforgivable. But the house is very quiet now. Perfect, pristine, empty. Sometimes I work from home. The silence is good for concentration. Sometimes the neighbor kids play basketball in the street. I watch from my window. They never asked to use my hoop. But here's the thing I didn't expect. The house felt different now. Not violated, something else. Proven. Like it had been tested, challenged, and survived. We'd both survived. Late at night I'd walk through the rooms, touch the walls I'd repainted, the fixtures I'd replaced. Mine, still mine, always mine. And that basketball hoop in the driveway. Last week I shot some baskets. Turns out I'm pretty good. The neighbor kid asked if he could play. Sure, I said, but I keep score. He laughed. Fair enough. We played until sunset. I won.